Okay, third grade, here is your Module 3 assessment review. Blank are two or more fractions that name the same amount. So there is your clue: same, equal, equivalent. So equivalent fractions name the same amount. A unit fraction is a fraction that has one unit in the numerator. So like 1/4, 1/3, 1/8, 1/9,426. As long as it has one in the numerator, it's a unit fraction. Number 2, when two fractions refer to the same whole and have the same denominators, explain why you can compare only the numerators. So when it says refer to the same whole, that means that what you're looking at is the same size as the other thing that you're looking at. So if we're comparing pizzas, the pizzas are the same size, the brownies are the same size, the tables are the same size, and have the same denominators. Explain why you can only compare the numerator. So let's say this is talking about two fractions with the denominator of 4, that means 4 pieces. The whole is the same size. Let's see, we have a pizza that's cut into 4 pieces. The pizza is the same size. Let's see, we have 3/4 here and 1/4 here. We can only compare the numerators because the denominator is the same. We're not changing the number of pieces that the pizza is cut into, and it's the same size. So if I have 4 pieces that are the same size and I eat 3 of them, that's going to be greater than the 1 piece that's left. And I'm not going to write all that down, but that's what that means. Okay, use models to compare. So you could draw this, and I could draw this, but it would be difficult to draw on my screen. So I'm just going to talk you through the process of what I'm thinking here. So 1/6 and 1/4. First I want to look and see what is the same. These both have 1 as a numerator, but the denominator is different. So think about those denominators, 6 and 4. If I were to draw a model and cut it into 6 pieces, and then compare that to the same size model cut into 4 pieces, the one that's cut into 4 pieces, the pieces would be bigger. So if I am eating, we'll just use that as an example, eating 1 piece that is smaller because it is cut into 6ths, then 1 piece over here that is bigger because it's cut into 4, then that 1 piece is going to be smaller. So 1/6 is less than 1/4 because that piece is smaller. A good rule to remember about fractions, about denominators: the bigger the denominator, the smaller the pieces are going to be. The smaller the denominator, the bigger the pieces are going to be. Think about sharing something with your friends. If you were to share a candy bar with just you and your friend, then you guys would get pretty big pieces because you would get half and they would get half. If you were going to share that same candy bar with the whole class, then you would have to cut it into like 22 pieces, and everybody would get a really tiny piece. So just always remember, bigger the denominator, smaller the pieces. Number 4, 1/8 and 1/8. Those are equivalent fractions. Those fractions will actually equal. They're exactly the same. My numerator is the same, and my denominator is the same. My pen's not working there now. So 1/8 equals 1/8. Number 5, 2/8 and 2/3. Again, my numerators are the same, but my denominators are different. So think about, if I cut something into 8 pieces, those pieces are going to be pretty small. If I cut it into 3 pieces, they're going to be bigger. So if I'm eating 2 pieces that are small and 2 pieces that are big, the 2 pieces that are small are always going to be smaller than the 2 pieces that are big. So I'm eating the same number of pieces, they're just smaller than in the other one, in 2/3. So 2/8 is less than 2/3. Number 6, 4/2 and 1/2. Now here my denominator is the same, so my pieces are the same size. All I'm changing is how many of them I am, and I'm using eating because that's what we typically use as fractions for some reason, but I'm eating more pieces that are the same size. So if I'm eating 4 pieces that are the same size as the 1 piece here, then I am eating more. So it's greater than. So 4/2 is greater than 1/2. Number 7, I have 7/8 and 3/8. Again, the denominator is the same, so the size of the pieces does not change. It's cut into 8 pieces. Only the number of pieces eaten or taken or shaded changes. So here I have 7/8 of those eaten or shaded, and here with 3/8 I only have 3. So with 7/8, that is more than 3/8. 7 of the same size pieces is bigger than 3 of the same size pieces. So 7/8 is greater than 3/8. And we have 6/6 and 6/8. The numerator is the same, denominator is different. The sixths are going to be bigger pieces than the eighths because 8 is bigger, it's shared between more people, it's cut into more pieces, so the pieces are going to be smaller. So if I have 6 bigger pieces, I already have more than if I have 6 smaller pieces. So 6/6 is greater than 6/8. If you are using models, if you're drawing, make sure that you draw the 2 models exactly the same size. That's super important. Okay, shade the model or use the number line to find the equivalent fraction. So 3/4 is equal to how many eighths? So now I have to make this model into eighths. So I can, no, I'm not going to do it. I can then, I know this is fourths, so I'm going to make it into eighths. Actually, first, hold on, sorry guys, start over. First I'm going to shade 3/4. 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to make eighths. And then I'm going to count them. How many eighths is the same as 3/4? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 3/4 is equivalent to 6/8. Number 10. They've already given you 2 different models. So what can I shade that's going to look the same as this one? So that's the same amount. Now what is that fraction? It's cut into 2 pieces and I shaded one of them, so 1/2. So 2/4 is equivalent to 1/2. And number 11 is a number line. So we're looking at 1/3 is equivalent to how many sixths? And they've actually already broken the number line apart into sixths and written all of the fractions for you. So you can just look, 1/3 is equivalent to 2/6. So if I colored in one, or if I went from 0/3 to 1/3, it would be there. If I went from 0/6 to 2/6, it would be the same. Okay. 2 walls in Tiffany's room are the same size. That's important, they're the same size. Tiffany paints 1/4 of one wall. Jake paints 1/8 of the other wall. Which of the following correctly compares the fractions? So I have 1/4 and 1/8. Looking at what's the same and what's different. The numerator is the same, so I know I'm painting one part, but the denominators are different. So I know the part that Tiffany paints is bigger than the part that Jake paints because remember, the smaller the denominator, the bigger the piece is. So I know that 1/4 is greater than 1/8. Matthew divided a banana into 6 and ate 2 parts. What is an equivalent fraction for 2/6? So I'm going to color 2/6 here. And what can I color over here in my other model to show the same amount? Now I know that is 1 piece shaded out of 1, 2, 3 pieces. So 1/3. So 2/6 is equivalent to 1/3. Excuse me. Gabby cut an apple into 2 equal pieces and ate one of the pieces. What is an equivalent fraction for the portion of apple Gabby ate? So she cut it into 2 pieces and ate one. So I'm going to shade 1. And I'm going to do the same thing on here and just count and label my fraction. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces, denominator, and 1, 2, 3, 4 of them are shaded. So 4/8 is equivalent to 1/2. And finally, Liam rowed his boat 3/4 of a mile across the lake. What is an equivalent fraction for 3/4? So I'm going to find 3/4. And my equivalent fraction is 6/8. Here my number line is cut into 4 pieces. Here my number line is cut into 8 pieces, and the part where they're equal is here. Alright, so that's your review. If you have any questions, email me and I will help you out. If you don't, you are ready to take your test.